When the world above is threatened by monstrous evil, it will be up to a darker princess of power to save the day. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1. The next chapter in the brand new Absolute DC universe, courtesy of superstar team Kelly Thompson and artist Hayden Sherman. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop on in together and find out, shall we? So then, as we open up the comic, we're actually in Gateway City. Not as familiar with this place as you are, say, Metropolis or Gotham. Well, I can't blame ya. Gateway City is a 60s creation that over the years has been home to both the Spectre and, of course, Wonder Woman. It's based on San Francisco, and in the main universe, it actually touted one of the greatest collections of Greek artifacts the world had ever known, though I'm not sure if that's still true. Today, though, the city is under siege. A strange triangular flying craft has set up shop above the city and begun to belch hundreds of thousands of different strange little demonic creatures. Luckily for the populace, the city has a defender, a strange armored dark rider flying upon a skeletal Pegasus and wielding a giant sword. I mean, like a really big sword, like an anime-sized sword. I'm talking like Guts' Dragon Slayer or like Cloud Strife's Buster Sword big. Also, man, what is it with the DC Absolute Universe where everything is just bigger? This rider we discover is none other than Princess Diana, though a much darker version than we have come to know from the main universe. In fact, she even touches up her makeup by smearing a little demon blood on her face. She also speaks some unknowable magic words before clicking her gauntlets together and creating a massive energy backlash. One that knocks all the monsters out of the sky, but as we discover later, doesn't actually kill them because seemingly that is something that has stayed consistent that Wonder Woman does not do in this world. But how the hell did we get here, you might be wondering? Well, for that, we end up flashing back in time. You see, in this brand new Absolute universe, Diana is not Princess of the Themyscira, instead she is Princess of Hell. Which is actually a little bit misleading. When we say hell, we're not talking about the Abrahamic biblical version of hell filled with fire and the devil. Instead, we're talking about Hell Island, an ancient prison formed by the Greek gods to house Circe the sorceress for her many crimes against the Pantheon. Circe, of course, you'll know in the main world is a long-standing Wonder Woman villain, but here we are given a very different interpretation of the character, one who is honestly a lot of fun with some great cutting remarks. One day while living out her sentence, Circe the sorceress is met by Apollo, the golden messenger of the gods, who has come to her with a young baby, Diana, the last of the Amazons. As Apollo explains, Zeus in his great rage punished the Amazons for daring to ever stand against Olympus, and now their last child has been sent here as punishment. Oh, but it gets worse. In classic petty Zeus fashion, he has decided to actually strike the word Amazon from the known world. No one can speak it, and in fact, when Circe tries, it is actively obscured within the comic text bubble. Naturally, as you might assume, Circe doesn't love the idea of now being forced to play nursemaid to a young child, especially what with the whole already living out her own personal prison sentence. At first, she was just gonna leave the baby alone to the elements, but early on, it was made abundantly clear that Diana was not like other children and that there must have been a good reason the gods decided to imprison her on this island. For starters, she has amazing strength and is able to defeat a snake that tried to bite her. It was after that Circe slowly but surely started to warm up to the child. The love of being a parent ended up melting her icy heart, and together the two ended up forming a real bond. In fact, the young Princess of Hell showed that she was able to form bonds with, well, just about anything. All of the creatures and demons and lost souls that tried to do her harm as a child would end up becoming her friends and playthings. But of course, this idyllic life, even in such an unidyllic location, couldn't last forever. Diana got older and she began to ask questions about herself, where she came from, and one particular word that stuck in her mind, yet for whatever reason she just could not bring herself to say, almost afraid that if she did, it would end up changing everything. Also, too, Kelly Thompson puts in a really funny joke here about the Giving Tree. The monsters that would come to the island, too, every so often also became bigger and a lot more dangerous, which only further helped fuel young Diana's wish to leave this place and see what lay beyond hell. Which she ultimately would do, but because Circe was a good mother, and because if you love something you're supposed to let it go, Circe decided that the only way she would allow Diana to see the rest of the world above is if she armed her to the teeth with some of the finest weapons the Greek world had to offer, like the Blade of Athena, forged by the great godly smith Hephaestus himself with the power to cleave even the most terrifying creatures, like the actual leader of these flying things. We get treated to a very fun little action scene wherein we see this new Absolute Wonder Woman isn't just an amazing sword fighter, she also has access to dark magics, as well as plenty of help from her skeletal horse too, which yes, that is actually this world's answer to Pegasus. Boy, has he seen some better days. The real thrust of the story though eventually comes back to that forgotten word, the word that Zeus struck from existence, yet at the same time a word that burns in the heart of Diana herself. It's after a lifetime of love and care, Circe is actually able to help Diana come into her true identity and to say that powerful word, the word being Amazon. We also learned that once upon a time the Amazons were actually the ancient defenders of the world above. It seems that they battled monsters and all other sorts of evil back during their heyday, and now it seems that young Diana is feeling the push to do the same. In fact, as the comic comes to a close, Diana, the new Wonder Woman, manages to defeat this massive creature that has been bedeviling Gateway City, while also making a grand declaration to all listening of who she really is, for she is Diana of the Themyscira, Princess of Hell, Witch of the Wild, daughter of Circe, last of the Amazons, defender of Gateway City, and you guessed it, the Wonder Woman, though she doesn't actually say that last part. And so that was Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1, everybody, and I gotta say, much like Absolute Batman, this one really did leave it all out there on the field, didn't it? Coming in with a big bombastic first issue that managed to feel both classic and true to the original character while also being fresh and new in ways I didn't expect. Having Wonder Woman seemingly be the last of the Amazons is a pretty interesting choice, as she is both trying to learn more about her heritage and also try and recapture a sacred duty that Zeus and the gods took from her. This is also a really interesting take on Circe too, who is normally shown to be a Wonder Woman villain, yet here is actually her loving but unorthodox adoptive mother who actually helps contribute to this Wonder Woman's darker, more hellish edge. There's also a really good story in here too about growing into your own identity. I just finished this season of Rings of Power and it actually very much reminds me about what was going on with Gandalf in that show about discovering his name and how no one can tell you you're an Amazon. You have to find that word on your own and with it unlocking all of its secret hidden power. I think this book also does a good job managing to sidestep some potential plot holes. Yes, it's a little bit darker, a little bit edgier, but A, with good reason, and B, without feeling overly try-hard or oppressive. Wonder Woman wants to do good in a world that has mostly forgotten good, forgotten her people. And I think it's a recipe for some very cool future stories. Overall, I would give this one a much-deserved 8.5 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.